Hi, and thanks for joining me today on Ingrained Woodworks. Today, I'm working in Easel to design some unique plant stands for around our house. Welcome back to the workbench. Let's get designing. Basically, I started with the shape from the Two Moose Designs plant stand that they use, and I purchased the actual plans or the files from their website, and I'll link that below so you can feel free to purchase those as well. Now their plans are licensed for your own individual use, not for competing against them in the same market. So download them, use them for yourself, and enjoy a pre-done plan. Now what we're going to do today is add some extra flair to it. So on each of these pieces, one side will be blank, just smooth whatever wood we decide to use. So in this case, I think I'm going to cut these out of walnut, and I may cut a set out of maple. And the other side, I want to add these small details. So here we have these quadrifoil looking design in a pattern here, and then we have kind of a mosaic or a parquet or whatever you want to call it here, just a simple maybe crosshatch or weave pattern. And I feel like this will give a really nice texture to the piece while not being too distracting, especially if it's not filled in with any color. I may in the future do the same thing, fill it with some white epoxy and then cut it out. I think that would contrast really well with the walnut. But for now, we're going to just carve this out. So there's a little bit of a trick to it. So if I set everything here for a V-carve or a 16th inch bit, it's going to cut everything just a little bit off. So what I started with is simply the design here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these leg pieces, and I'm going to copy it using Control-C. I'm going to duplicate this first slide here. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to create a new work piece here, and we're going to paste this leg piece in here, and we need 4 of them. So we'll paste those in, move them over here. We'll go back to our first page here and grab our center sections. And we can just grab both of these. We only need the 2. So we'll go in to our new workspace and we'll paste these. And you'll see here, for some reason I had set my machine workspace small. Oh, it's because I don't have a machine connected currently. So we'll choose the SilverBack. That gives us 24 inch, a little over 24 inch by 24 inch. Alright, so now that we have all of the pieces for our carve, I'm actually going to give myself some space here and spread these down a little bit. And then I went into this apple symbol here. This gives us our clipart library. And I went to pattern. And here's the quadrifoil design. So I selected that. And I selected on path. So we're going to click that, and it's going to bring it in for us. And I'll zoom in here so we can see a little bit better. Now, oh, come on, computer. Now what you can do is, so we want 2 of them to be this quadrifoil and 2 of them are going to be that crosshatch. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to delete these outlines here. I don't want these particular outlines. So I'm going to delete these. Alright, so now we have those deleted, and I'm going to go ahead and select, oh, I moved it a little bit. I'm going to select all of my quadrifoils. There we go. Alright, so we're going to Control C and then Control V and paste it. Alright, and Control Copy, Control Paste. Now here's the thing. On this side here, we don't care if these overlap because it's just going to carve into the top of our wood surface that we're carving into. However, I don't want anything to overhang the side of my workpiece because I don't want my machine to carve air, and I also don't want it to hit a limit switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a rectangle or a square, place it on the side here, and I'll stretch it up, and I'll move it out a little bit so it's not overlapping my actual workpiece. And then here's the secret: we're going to change this cut to 0. Now by changing it to 0, it's going to completely ignore that cut is there, so that it doesn't try to cut those pieces at all. So right now we're just going to have the pieces here, the quadrifoils, that are going to be cut. Alright, our next pattern that we're going to do, we're going to go back to the apple, again under pattern, and we'll select the parquet pattern here. So we'll select that, we'll select fill, and then grab it and move it over. Now obviously this one is square, so it's a little bit easier to align and deal with. So we will be able to just copy and paste it a few times. So copy, paste. Alright, now these two pieces here, these are the cross members that go from side to side and support the plant, and they fit into each other. This space here slides into this space here, so they sit at the same height. These little dog bones here give clearance so that it can fit all the way down in. Now we don't need any pattern on those because nobody's going to see them. They're going to be underneath the plant, while these legs are exposed. So I'm happy with this design. So from here, all that I did was I created a duplicate workpiece, and I deleted out all of the hardline pieces so that it wouldn't have the pattern on it. So you see in here, this has the pattern. Oh, there we go. This has the pattern overlapping it. So basically what we do is we come down to the active workpiece, click the drop down, duplicate it, and then duplicate it again, because we're going to have two sets of cuts here. So one, this first one here, we can rename it and we can say this one is pattern carve. I think I spelled pattern right. Let me check here. Yeah. Okay. And then this one, notice how it adds a name down here. It's just handy to keep everything in line. This one will be named stand cutout. through cut. There we go. So for the pattern one, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in a little bit. We'll take these two, delete them off. We'll try and grab best we can, get underneath there and grab that, there we go, grabbed one of them. These little legs, and delete them out. Same here. So now we have all of those portions deleted, and actually I'm going to take this one. It looks like it pasted in a weird spot there, so we need to bring that in. Alright, so now we have our pattern here. Now what this is going to do is just going to carve these, and we're going to set the carving to happen with a 60-degree V-bit. And you'll notice it changed our settings to look all funky. We're going to highlight all these. We're going to set our cut depth very shallow because I just want the pattern in there. So we're going to set that cut depth to 0.15 inches and hit enter. We'll look at our detailed view over here and see what it looks like. Alright, I like that. Not too deep. This is set as birch plywood. It really doesn't matter because our cut settings, I mean, we're going to go fast. We're not cutting a whole lot of material. We're going to go 120 inches a minute, 40 inch per minute plunge rate. Our depth per pass will do the full depth in one pass here. So we'll do 0.15. We can do offset and just a straight vertical plunge. So that's all good. We're set there. So now our through cut, what we need to do is select all of the pattern pieces. Now the other thing we could have done at the beginning is we could have already duplicated that first layer when we had just this in the layer. As long as we have everything set in place so that the patterns don't overlap, we could set these, duplicate it, then add the pattern, and then just take away these particular items from the pattern one so that we end up with this. Oh, and you see here how this decided that it was going to cut down to that depth because I highlighted it with it. So we need to go back and that box needs to be changed to a 0 cut depth. Now it'll ignore this cut here. You can see on here where it avoids, oh, can't get it to come over this way. It avoids cutting that altogether, you'll see on the edge. Alright, so our detailed view here, we get our cuts for the patterns. Come on, there it is. So that's our fleur-de-lis, or not our fleur-de-lis, oh my goodness, our quadrifoil, and our pattern here. And we'll go ahead and simulate this just to see how long it's going to take, and that takes into account the cut settings that you have set up here. So we'll see what it says as far as our tool path. It says 25 minutes. That's not terrible. You can see a lot of jumping up and down and up and down and up and down. That stuff really is what takes up a lot of the time, and I don't always feel like Easel has the best tool paths, but it is easy to work in, so I'll take it. You know, in your case, if you're better with another program and you can get these tool paths much more efficient, then do so. You'll save yourself a good bit of time in the carve. For me, I'm not that great with some of the other programs, so this will save me time in development of the design, even though it might take a little bit more time in the cut. So 25 minutes there. Here we're going to use, for all of these pieces, a 1/4 inch bit, and we're going to do a through cut. We're going to use tabs. Our tab lengths are 1/4 inch. They're 0.08 inches high, and there's 4 per item. So if we look in here, each one of these will have 4 tabs. And what I want to avoid, see how this is a tab right on a corner? Do not leave a tab right on the corner. When you go to sand this piece, you're just going to be upset that you left that there. Drag it out to an edge, and it'll make it a lot easier to sand off. Alright, and we're all set. So from here, I will meet you in this workshop and we'll get this carved out.